I see no evidence that there's any supernatural explanation for physical suffering or any intended purpose for it. It just is. What about emotional suffering? You asked, why do bad things happen every day? I agree with you that bad things don't have to happen. That would be predeterminism, and it's much harder to reconcile an omnibenevolent God with predeterminism. So we agree bad things don't have to happen, but they do happen. Some of the examples you gave of emotional suffering involved breakups, fights, mistakes. You were clear, you understand the causes. In my previous video, I said that humans are social animals, and we've developed complicated responses to stimuli. Experiencing fear, embarrassment, peer pressure, all of these emotions can be beneficial to individuals and groups, even though they're at least temporarily unpleasant. Everyone has a different goal in life, and a different goal in each and every situation, each moment of each situation. So the purpose driving something like a breakup could be, person A is tired of settling, or person B wants to move in a new life direction. The people involved have end results and goals in mind that drive their behavior. Those are human purposes and goals. Why assume there's a bigger purpose? Especially why assume there's a bigger purpose from another being who's in some sort of control? Other than that, it makes some people feel good to assume that, but that doesn't make it true. We've come back to the same issue. You seem to want to know an overarching purpose, designed ahead of time and fulfilled later in our lives, but there's just no information that points toward a purpose with a capital P. The best we can do is make the most of our circumstances and equip others to do the same thing. The most important section. Why live? You asked if there's no answer to the question about purpose or suffering. If there is no purpose, if there is no God, why live? If a Hindu stopped believing in multiple gods, would it make sense to you that she would have no reason to live after that? What about if someone from ancient Greece, say you got to meet someone from ancient Greece, and this person was convinced that there was no Zeus, no Hera, no Athena, no Apollo? That's no reason to stop caring about all the things you've always cared about. Laughter, music, art, life, science, family, fun, whatever wakes you up in the morning. Dropping a few pagan gods is no reason to lose the will to live. As you may have heard, some of us just go one God further. There's no reason to despair of life just because we don't assume there's a God who has a purpose for us, which we can never know. In fact, it's functionally the same as there being a God who will never tell you its purpose or plan for you. You get to go through life learning about your experiences as you experience them. That sounds like what every other person, with or without belief, encounters all throughout life. So, why live? Personally, I like life a lot. And I actually like it more since realizing there probably isn't a theistic God. So the will or the reason to live isn't tethered to whether one believes in a deity, at least not for most people. I have personal answers for why I want to keep living. So will just about anybody you talk to. They'll have personal answers whether they're theists or non-theists. And this has become much more clear to me as I've lived life. But those of us who are alive now are so lucky. Just think about anything you're grateful for. We are in a privileged time, and many humans have felt that. But we live in a time where I don't have to die from, what did I always get? Strep throat. And neither do you. You can have your wisdom teeth extracted. We appreciate nature, and the human species hasn't completely destroyed the ecosystem, so we still get to enjoy it. We have the internet. I can talk to you. I can have a conversation with you, and we've never even actually met. This is amazing. We live in a profoundly wonderful time, and I'm just really grateful for it. Why live? I like experiencing it. I like learning from it. Well, it doesn't matter what I like. The answer is, what do you like? Why do you live? And that's the answer to your question. Even if our assumptions about theology or the afterlife, even if they're totally wrong, why not live? You asked, is there any good outcome that comes from all these bad things that happen in life? My answer is yes, there are good outcomes. Sometimes they're random, and sometimes we create them. You said, and this was a little bit unfair, because you seemed to be asking an open question, but then you told us what we couldn't answer. You said, don't tell you there is no purpose.
Don't tell me, why live if there is no purpose, intention, or of why we go through bad things in life?
Well, since you said that, I won't tell you that. But I will tell you that you make your own purpose. You might not like to hear that, because it is scary in the amount of responsibility it gives you and every person around you. I mean, just imagine if everybody in the world were all working to achieve their own separate goals, totally separate from each other. They only sometimes work together to achieve purposes that would last beyond them. Wait, that's actually how the world works. Yeah. Sometimes humans are selfish. Sometimes we're selfless. And sometimes we have goals that extend beyond our lifetime. Sometimes not. It's as if we're all figuring it out on our own, whether we're religious or not. And that's probably because we are figuring it out on our own, whether we're religious or not. Maybe what you meant is, without a God, there would be no purpose. Yes and no. There's not an overarching purpose, predetermined by a theistic God with certain characteristics spelled out in a holy book and experienced only by true followers. But there is a purpose. It's the purpose you make. And just for emphasis, because this can't be emphasized enough, there is a purpose. It's the one you make. You are in control of how you react to the world, and therefore you exert major power over the direction of your life. Some people choose to change their lives, and others in various ways, by joining the military, or joining humanitarian missions, or by writing books, or moving to places they enjoy. They make their lives different by the partners they choose, the food they eat, the adventures they go on, whether they have kids, and for what reasons. And people make better decisions when they realize they have power over their lives and their goals.